Welcome back to the Right Side of Grace podcast. I'm Addie.
I'm Rick.
Welcome back. If you're listening, I was waiting for your laugh. You didn't do it.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I don't know how to do it.
Okay. Well, this is the first episode of, I guess, season 2.
I guess we can call it that.
We took a hiatus. Well,
why did we have to take a hiatus?
so I moved to St. Simons, Georgia for the months of May, June, and July. And I was working at Sea Island, the resort. And yeah, it was an internship. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, so we took her down there and
lots of things unfolded that day.
Yeah. So that was a nice little place that she had. A couple of roommates. They were nice. Well, I didn't get to meet the roommates. I saw one.
Well, I had one roommate for the first.
Yeah.
She was a very sweet girl.
Yeah.
I really liked her.
Yeah. They were all the girls were nice. The one thing that was difficult though was it was expensive. So Addie's like, Dad, it's going to be this much money.
It was expensive, and there was like a lot of other things that played into the housing situation there.
Yeah. So I had a friend I went to high school with, and her name was Stacy Sanders. It is now
Stacey Oliver.
Stacy Oliver.
She saved my life.
Yeah, and she did. She came through in a big way.
Yep, she's one of the greatest people I've ever met.
Yeah, I just sent her a message and just thanked her for being
her family
so hospitable.
I guess I should explain. I ended up leaving my apartment that I was living in, and I moved
after 2 weeks or 3?
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
like 10 days. And I moved in with this family. They have 2 daughters. Well, they have more kids, but they had 2 daughters living there at the time, and then her husband, Jamie. And they seriously were the nicest people to me, and they just made my experience so much better having them and like having like some sort of family that I could like, I don't know, it was just really nice to live with them. So I appreciated that. And I went to the beach a lot. I'm trying to think of, I don't know, I just got to live.
Did you learn anything about accounting?
I would say no. I would say I learned more about just like working and making connections with people. And like, that's so important. I think a lot of times we forget just like our everyday, like just relationships with people. Yeah. And I came in contact with a lot of wealthy people throughout my summer.
Sea Island. Sea Island is like, so St. Simons is just a regular place that you go for vacation. It's not that big of a deal. Most people can go there for pretty cheap. It's not that expensive. But Sea Island is like, you got to have special kind of money. You can't just, not the random person can get on the island. You know.
No, yeah, you got to pay for it. It's very expensive. And so I came in contact with a lot of rich people, and it was definitely interesting. And I like would meet people. Like I met this girl. Well, I met her husband and the wife, and she's like does stuff for Reaching and Teaching, which is like this big, I don't know. Like, yeah, it was just cool. Like I got to meet a lot of people, and I got to, I don't know, experience what it's like to work a lot. And I don't like working.
Yeah.
So it's just not my forte. I don't think I'm really built for it. No, I'm just kidding. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to experience it. I'm glad the Olivers let me live in their house. That was seriously, they saved my life. And it was like, they did it out of the kindness of their hearts. Like they didn't have to.
Yeah, man. Saved a bunch of money for Addie. They were very, very helpful. And as a parent, I was extremely thankful. Yeah,
it was seriously, they're the sweetest people ever.
Yeah. Well, Stacy was always fun. She was a good time.
She is a good time.
Yeah.
She's a fun lady.
Yeah, but I also knew, like, if something went down, I knew that Stacy would handle business.
Yeah, she has your back.
Like, she, even in high school, she didn't play. So I was very comforted in the fact that she was down there with Stacy. So that was helpful.
Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it, though. I love that area. I think I always will.
But you left us. We were here by ourselves, and, you know, your mom was reeling. She didn't know what to do. Then when Shelby finally came home, she was able to spend a good bit of time with Shelby and go on their walks and do all the things. But the right side of grace had to fall apart because
the star was gone. Duh.
Our 2 hosts, substitute hosts were Charlie
and Shelby.
We didn't add Jesse.
Fortunately, the dyslexic can't get on the show.
Oh, that was hard.
Well, why did you not put him on?
It just never worked out. Like, summer got busy. I mean, he was always gone. Football.
Yeah, it was a very busy summer.
It made sense for us just to end it and be done, and then kind of start back once everything got back to life. We'll bring him on. He can talk about all his football success recently. His senior year and his homecoming dance last night.
How he's going to be homecoming king. I'm just kidding.
That's a long shot for Jesse.
Oh, dear God.
So anyway, that was good. It was a good time this summer. We did miss you, and we had to have just a few people try to fill your shoes.
Could not be filled.
A little bit, but couldn't fill them completely.
That's what I thought.
So anyway, that was what took place. That's why we took a little hiatus, and now we're back, and we were trying to figure out a good way to kind of kick it back off. And kind of with the recent events everybody's aware of, I don't know when this will come out, but last week, we're filming this today, Sunday, and what's the date today? I don't even know.
The 14th.
14th, so today's 14th. So Wednesday of last week, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and then a week prior to that, I think the Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee that was here in Charlotte on the light rail. That is,
literally gets off at UNCC.
Yeah, I've been on it. I've been on it a number of times, and it was like I think she was in South End, right there where it took place. So, a nice area, and just tragically, she was murdered by somebody. I don't know if he was homeless. I don't know much about him. I know he'd been arrested several times, and he was not in jail, and killed her for no reason. I don't know. Just had
he had an episode.
Yeah, something happened, and he killed her, and it was. I don't think people on the train actually knew what had just taken place. And then she fell over, and then I think some people reacted, but it was pretty sad. Pretty sad event. I don't even think she knew. If you've seen the video, it was pretty horrifying. It was bad.
Watched.
She didn't really know. I think she just thought he hit her, and then because she was afraid, and then she looked down and saw, I think, blood, and then started crying. It was horrific. But that took place, and then Charlie Kirk on Wednesday, and then try to how to process all that as a Christian, and then the responses to the assassination of Charlie Kirk were interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know how many you saw. Or
I think I saw I unfollowed a lot of people that day and it wasn't people that I was friends with or close with. It was mainly just influencers that I just kind of realized I don't want to support these people anymore, just because I think it's a lot to say after, a father of 2 kids, a husband, just a member of, our society gets murdered, not just out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And just to say, we don't have to be empathetic, or it might be something that we don't feel the same way as everybody about. And I just don't agree with that. I think he's a human being, and that's how we should see people, as human beings that God created and put on this earth. And no matter if he was, liberal or Democratic or whatever he believed, didn't matter. I would have cared. You should just care. It doesn't matter what their political views are. And I think a lot of people, it was alarming. The amount of response was more of, well, good. He deserved it. Someone had to do it. I don't know. I just think that's really scary that was a lot of my generation's reaction to the murder. And so, I don't know. I think it put into perspective just the way that our world is headed. And that's what's scary is it's these people that are that I'm growing up with have these interesting mindsets towards they just have a lot of hate in their heart, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a decent human being. You should no matter who gets assassinated like that, no matter what their beliefs are, nobody should react in glee or joy,
no,
or satisfaction or anything, any anything like that. It's just here's a young man who is just trying to have open dialogue with people. And I mean, he's on college campuses. He's 31. He's not far from
he's
college
young.
student age.
He's very young.
He started Turning Point University or Turning Point USA or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know the
Turning
Point when he was like 18. And it's impressive what he's done.
Yeah.
Where he's worked and all the things that he's accomplished. And I'm sure that he did not, certain people hated what he said.
Well, and I think, like this podcast, you have to give grace. Like everybody, we're all humans. So it's like, when you're, especially the way Charlie Kirk was always in the public eye, like you're going to say things that maybe he said things a little bit aggressively in some, I don't know, like I don't think he ever really did. But like things can come off the way you don't want them to be perceived, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of videos I've seen where, people take issue with certain things he said. And I think if you go back and look at the context and all in which he said it, I think you could at least understand where he was coming from. He was never coming from a place of hate. And I think that was something that was good. Like his big thing was faith. What's funny or ironic, I think, is like when he was interviewed by several people, they asked him, like, what do you want to be remembered for? Or what's most important to you? And he would always say, I want to be remembered for my faith.
Yeah.
I don't think he started out being as committed a Christian as he is at the end of his life.
Yeah. Well, I think it shows, like, obviously, like, God has a plan for he knew that this was going to happen. He knew Charlie Kirk was going to be assassinated. And I think, like, as we've seen, like, all throughout this, like, past week, it's just been, like, the Lord has been on display. Like, they have, they're talking about the Bible on Fox News. Like, this just, like, I feel like it's been, yes, it's really sad what happened to him, and it's awful, and it's something that should never happen. But I also think, like, God is using this for good. And he's showing, like, I don't know. I just feel like so many people are seeing the gospel right now and seeing the way Christians, I think this is a time for too, like as Christians, like the way that we respond is so important because like if we respond in a way that's like horrible and nasty and attacking, it's like all these people that are for Charlie Kirk's death are going to look at us and be like, you're no better than us. So it's like, I think as Christians, if we respond just like with grace and understanding, but also knowing like, we're not here for, I think we take for granted our life on earth so much because we think, oh, well, it's, that would never happen. Like I would never get assassinated. But like, you never know, like you're not promised the next hour. So it's like, why, like, I don't want to waste my life just because I'm scared that this might happen. And I think Charlie like knew that, like he knew every day going into those college campuses, being so vulnerable with these people, he could die. He knew that. And so I think his life is such a like honorable thing because we can look at it and be like, that's how we should want our lives to be. Like if I died tomorrow, like his one wish was that he would be remembered for his faith. And I think he genuinely, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And his wife is like, says the same thing. Like, you thought that by killing him was, it was going to end it, but I think it's only started it. And I think that's what's the cool part of like seeing his death. It's horrible, but also like there is a purpose. And I think knowing that gives hope and it gives more comfort.
Yeah. I think anytime you face tragedy, whether it's national tragedy or personal tragedy, I think that, it's helpful to know that God is actually in control. Mm. And sometimes it's difficult to see that. Sometimes we can see the hand of God. So it's very visible and it's clear and God is moving clearly in certain circumstances. But sometimes there's a hidden work of God that we actually can't see. But that doesn't mean he's not working. Just because we can't see it at the time, it doesn't mean he's not working. It's all throughout the scripture. All throughout the scriptures replete with examples of bad things happening on the surface, yet God doing something underneath that is good. There's evil things happening where you can see it, and then there's good things happening where you can't see it, and it comes to light later. We talked about this a number of times. with Joseph, with his brothers and all the bad things that are happening to him. Like he's trending down and everybody else is getting better in his life. And then, but at the end of Joseph's life, he recognizes that evil was happening to him, but God intended that very same evil for his good and for the good of many people. And he understood that. Even the divided kingdom, where Rehoboam takes over for Solomon, and Israel and Judah are separated. There used to be a united kingdom of Israel, and now it's completely separated. There was good things at work while evil things were going on. Solomon was doing some evil things, but underlying that, God was working. In fact, when Solomon was told by the prophet that his kingdom was going to be taken from him, he said, because of David's sake, for David's sake, I'm going to take it from your son, not you. And then for Israel's sake and David's sake, I'm going to not take all the tribes, but just 10. And I'll leave you 2. But it's for Israel's sake, for David's sake. All throughout the scriptures, you see this: David's sake, Israel's sake, Joseph's sake. And people are benefiting for the work of others. And we just need to be reminded that, we're standing on the shoulders of other people, other faithful servants of God. And our generations following could stand on our shoulders too. So it's important for your generation to take ownership of the moment.
Yeah.
And live in a way that is pleasing to God. But be reminded too that, and this is what I think Charlie Kirk has said a number of times, that it's all about Christ, right? This is what the gospel is. It's about Jesus and his righteousness. It's not our good works that saves us. It's the righteousness of Christ. And so we stand under the work of Christ. For Christ's sake, we are redeemed. It's Christ's sake that we can be reconciled to holy God. It's because Jesus Christ went on the cross, and for his sake, he paid the penalty we couldn't pay. And we stand under that righteousness. And we trust in Christ and Christ alone for salvation. Not our good works, Christ's good works. For Christ's sake, we can live in righteousness. We can be made right with holy God. And I think that's what we need to be reminded of when we think about these tragedies. 2 things are happening at the same time: the evil works of man and the good works of God. And those are happening all at the same time. And sometimes we can clearly see the work of God in it. And sometimes we can't clearly see the work of God. But we always know that work is going on. So when tragedy happens, whether personal or national or whatever the case may be, we can trust that there is a purpose to it. And so we can rest in that truth. And I think that's sometimes difficult to remember, but it's so important to remember.
Yeah. And I think that this is kind of like a big, and I don't know, like everyone goes through different things in their life, but I do think like a death like Charlie Kirk's is such a big like wake up call and a reminder to like, because it's so like you're told all the time in church, like live on fire for the Lord or like do these things and like trust in the Lord and like your whole life will be but I think it's actually so hard to live that. And it's so hard to genuinely be like, I trust fully that, my life is in the Lord's hands. Like it's so much easier to say, but like to actually daily and like, you guys can be sitting there judging me and be like, that girl doesn't trust in the Lord. But it's like, come on, back of your head. Like sometimes like you have that, like, why is God letting this happen to me in my life? But it's like, I think the way that we view our lives should shift after something like this. Like it should be more of like, how can I like just like avoid those thoughts? Like how can I not let those thoughts come in my brain? Like how, and like in those situations when, you're having a really hard time or things are going not the way that you want, like this is all in the Lord's plan. And like, I think Charlie Kirk knew that. I think his life was so like, I just felt like he lived his life for the Lord, genuinely. Like everything he did when he would go and talk on those big talk shows. And like, you don't think that was hard for him? Like to be on national television talking about Jesus? Like people don't like that. So like, I think that's something that you should take away from his death is like our lives are just it's not, I think we make things harder on ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's actually interesting. You know, you said that like it was hard for him to go on and say that on TV. Like, yes and no. It was difficult because, you know, the media doesn't want Christ to be proclaimed. The media doesn't want to uplift the name of Christ. They don't want to publish that. However, Charlie Kirk was unique in a way that the media couldn't ignore him.
No, and they would listen.
Right, they couldn't ignore him, so they had to have him on because, I mean, he was being followed by millions of people.
Yeah,
and the YouTube channel was a huge following, and so if they wanted the views, if they wanted to capitalize on,
they had to put him out there.
They had to have him on, and it was just it was hard for them because they were like, oh well, we're going to invite him on, and he's going to say things we don't want him to say.
Yeah. But we got to have him.
We got to have him on. And I think that was a really unique and special thing about him is that I don't think it was hard for him. I think he was committed to that, galvanized in a way that nobody else was.
Yeah.
Like everybody else was looking out for their, you know, for their brand.
I don't want to say something that's not going to get me a paycheck.
Like, I don't want to get canceled. He's like, I don't care. Cancel me.
Yeah.
Like he had his own following.
Yeah.
And he didn't, you know, Turning Point USA, he started that. And it was his YouTube channel that kind of was a catalyst for all that stuff. So he didn't care, I don't think. I think he was emboldened. Yeah. I think he was committed, galvanized, however you want to say it. He was settled and resolute in his decision to be a clear voice for the gospel and for the family. And really, truly, he would say, what's going to fix this nation is the nuclear family and getting back to that. Yeah. Mothers and fathers raising kids together in homes. Obviously, the ultimate way is to do it in the gospel. Yeah. But he wasn't saying you had to do it that way. He said it's the best way. But nuclear family is the best for any nation. Yeah. And like he was committed to that. Yeah. So and the free discourse, like disagree with me. He was friends with a lot of people from a lot of diverse backgrounds. Like he was had numerous friends from numerous different political backgrounds and even cultural backgrounds. Yeah, I think the Reuben Report, the guy that's now a conservative, used to be a liberal. He is. I'm pretty sure he's married to a man.
Sorry.
I mean, he is.
My reaction was horrifying.
He's married to a man, but he was friends with Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk had meals at his home, and he had meals at Charlie's home. And Charlie was very vocal about, this is I don't believe in that lifestyle. That. Yeah. But you're a human, and I want to treat you as such.
I think this is where, as human or America, I don't know. I think that's where people have messed up, is they forget, like, human connection is real. Like, no matter what you believe, no matter the differences of your lifestyles, like, it shouldn't matter just because they're a person. Like, I think that's where
especially from a Christian, we're all image bearers.
Right. And especially if you're a Christian and let's say, I don't really know if there's any true Christians that wouldn't support Charlie, but if you didn't support him and you were like happy for his death, like that's not good. But it's like, I think that a lot of times, we just get so wrapped up in like, well, I can't be friends with them because we don't have the same view, or I can't hang out with them and I can't pray for them and I can't love them because they might be different than me. And I think that's where we've really, really messed up. And I think we need to go back to the fact that like, we're all people. And like, no matter if Charlie Kirk was Kamala Harris that got assassinated, like that still should have hurt all of us, no matter what you believe. Right. And I think that's what's the most alarming thing to me. And that's what people really should, I think that's what my biggest prayer has been like recently, is like that people would just like stop. Like, I don't know, like it's just too much of it's political or what I believe, what you believe, like, and it's just, nobody can just say, you know what, like Charlie had 2 kids, he had a wife. He didn't deserve that. He deserved it because he's a misogynistic person. Like, I just don't agree with that. No. So, I don't know.
I think the problem is you get people who throw around labels. We've talked about this before. you want to be radical on this side or radical on this side. You can't be, you can't close your ears and not listen.
Yeah.
And I think that Charlie wanted
to listen
and have dialogue and be able to exchange ideas and have a conversation about it. And, sometimes those conversations would get heated. I think he would always respond. If he got hate, and he actually didn't give it back, but he would give some, might have a little bit more vinegar.
He would say something.
Yeah, sure.
But anybody would.
Well, we're all broken. We all need to, this is why I always say, and it's a quote that I get from somebody, and he always says, God draws straight lines with crooked sticks. And I love that quote because
I've never heard that.
I'm a crooked stick. God, you can't look through the scriptures and see an example of a perfect person other than Jesus. There's no other perfect people. He's limited in his choices about using people, and we're all broken.
Yeah.
Every patriarch God used was broken. Every man or woman or child in the scriptures that God used was a broken person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's accomplishing his will with sinful people. And
even I think through that guy that shot him, that's, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he can be redeemed.
Yeah.
He's going to have to pay for his sin here on earth. He's going to have to face justice. But hopefully he would turn to Christ and repent. I mean, I think that's a prayer that every Christian should have, is that we want people to repent. And
I think also, just going back to what you're saying about broken people, I just think remembering that we're all, having grace for everybody, because we're all broken and we're all sinners. And so, no matter what, I think when you have that view and you have that stance on people, it makes your life so much easier because it's I know they might have hurt me in that moment or something horrible might have happened, but I'm just as much of a sinner as they are. Mm-hmm. And I think that could honestly heal our nation too, to understand that we're all sinners and we're all going to do wrong things. But that doesn't mean that we need to respond in the way that we do, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. I mean, our only hope, regardless if you believe or don't believe,
if everyone could just get saved, our world would be so much better. Yeah. But I know that's not going to happen. But I think it does show,
there's a better way.
There's a better way, but it also, it should, I don't know, it should make you want to share the gospel. I genuinely sit here and I'm it makes me, think about all these opportunities that I've had in the past and, moments that I've skipped over because I was too scared that somebody they were going to judge me for what I believed, or they weren't going to agree. And not even that I wouldn't know what to say, but just genuine, I don't want them to think of me any different than they already do. And so I think it makes me get upset with myself almost a little bit to be I've wasted some of my life not sharing the gospel. And not that you I don't know, not that you have to go and shove it down everyone's throats. I think there's a way to do it in a, I don't know, but I think it makes you kind of wake up and be dang, look at my life and how am I going to change from the way that I used to live to make it more, I don't know, just the way that.
I agree with you. I think it's funny because, you guys talk about college. It's almost a scary place to be conservative or to be a Christian.
It really is.
And you just have to put the answers on the paper that the professor wants you to put and then go. I almost think maybe it's time to challenge that.
I do too. I think the more that we abide by what everyone wants us to do, I think that's why it gets so bad. Because we've let a lot of the democratic views trump ours, especially in the school systems, because we want,
sure.
And so I think the more that you combat that, then.
Yeah. Well, that's why he went to college campuses. For by and large, college campuses are mostly liberal, right? And especially the professors, maybe not all the students, but most of the professors are. And so they have a liberal ideology and then they teach from that. liberal ideology. So there is a philosophical view and basically a theology. Everyone's a theologian. You're either a good theologian or a bad one, but even the professors have a theology that they believe, and they teach through that lens. And so that's why, Charlie Kirk was hated in large in part because of his, people call it political stance, but one of the things he was hated for most was because of his stance against abortion. And, like you said before, and what we say here, that's not a political issue. That's a moral issue.
Yeah.
Abortion's about morality, not about politics. Mm-hmm. And, I think the one I heard the most when people reacting to Charlie was, well, he thinks it's okay for, somebody that is a victim of rape, even his daughter. If one day she was raped, he would want her to continue with the pregnancy. And I'm like, the sins of the father should not be paid for by the child. Mm-hmm. If I commit murder, you shouldn't be killed in my place.
Yeah.
I should pay for my sins. And that was his message and his point. And people took it, of course, to an extreme position, but we don't believe abortion is good. Mm-hmm. We don't think that in any case it should be. And, we want, that's a living human that needs the opportunity to live. And if by all means, if we can, if that life can be brought forth safely, that's what we want to do. We want that baby to be born at all costs. We want it to be born. And hopefully, there's some certain circumstances like ectopic pregnancies where like both people are going to die no matter what. And it's unfortunate, but there is a death that occurs, and it's the death of a child. So we just have to, make sure that we understand those things. And it's tragic, and tragedy strikes all of our lives in different ways. But those are the things that Charlie stood for. They're the things that we should, as Christians, stand for.
Yeah,
morality,
and I think
shouldn't be scared anymore.
I think stop hiding from all of it and kind of just flying under the radar. I think Charlie's message was to be bold and to speak and have just normal conversations and be able to, sit across the table from someone with a different point of view and just talk about it and not be aggressive and not get in fights and not yell at each other. And I think if our world could get back to just conversations and talking, I think it would be way better. And I know that will never happen, but I think it could start. Yeah. I think it could start if we would actually just attempt to have the conversation and do it in a way that's normal and not crazy.
You said this when it first happened and we started having the responses come out. You said, and I think you were right. You said, if you're one that's celebrating it and saying, well, he deserved it and that's what he should get. If you're someone that's doing that, then what you're saying is you're okay with murder. And if you would have had the opportunity, you would have committed the murder
trigger
as well.
Yeah.
And you're okay with it.
Because it's the same thing in my head.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think that having that posture in your heart towards another human just because they disagree with you, that is a terrible way to live.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the abortion bomber, right? I can't remember his name, maybe Eric Rudolph. I might have to Google that. I'm not sure. But the guy who bombed abortion clinics, I'm against abortion. I think it's murder. And I don't want anybody to commit it.
Yeah.
But I am not for bombing.
I don't want to kill anyone else.
I don't want to kill anyone.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to die. And I want to be able to speak against it boldly. But I certainly don't want to kill somebody just because, they're going differently right now. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Good. You got anything else to add to that, Addie?
No, I thought you did a good job. I think
Eric Rudolph. Yeah. So she's in the text.
Who's Eric Rudolph?
That was was he called the Unabomber? Olympic Park bomber?
Interesting.
Really?
I think that's good. I think it's horrible. I hate that our country has gone through these horrible events recently. I don't know, but I definitely think it's going to be for some sort of good. And I think it already has been. And I think it's encouraging to see that there has been a lot of people stand up. I I've unfollowed a lot of influencers and people, but I've also seen a lot of influencers stand up and say, you know what, like, I'm tired of hiding what I believe, and I don't support this. And I think them showing that, you know, I'm not afraid to lose, because I mean, that's their livelihood. And a lot of girls that I'm sure, and whoever followed them, probably don't agree with their stance. So it's like, you know, like, that's a big deal to post something like that. And I think at the end of the day, like, I don't know.
I even saw, what's the young kid, Dean something?
Dean Withers.
Yeah, I even saw where he was upset visibly. Like,
Dean Withers, he was like always against him.
Yeah, and he even came to a couple rallies and wanted to debate him.
He was crying.
He was effective because
he's
genuinely human,
and that's normal, and you're supposed to have that reaction.
Right. And the thing about it, I think, was unique was, like, people would say, well, the radical left is reacting this way. I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think it's radical left.
I think you have, like, mainstream legacy media pundits saying things that were not good.
I think it's just evil people.
Yeah.
I don't care what their politics are at this point. I think it's genuinely people that are evil. That if you celebrated the fact that a man lost his life because you don't agree with what he believes in, I just think you're just an evil person.
Yeah.
And I know that's probably crazy to say, but I don't know what else to say.
They certainly need the hope of the gospel, for sure. They need to turn to Christ.
I just think there's a lot to say if you just, anyway. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I think, though, what's interesting to me is that, like, that mainstream media, and they've been desensitized because they've thrown out the words Nazi, fascist, all these, like, which is crazy to me. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me to just throw out those names, because what it does is it categorizes that person in this camp where it's okay for them to be murdered. And then, so when they are, you're like, well, this is what they were. And it's not even close. Like, for them to call somebody that, what it's doing is it's desensitizing the world so that they can kill somebody, or so that when they do die, that it's no big deal. And it's sad for us to get to that point. So we have to fight those kind of things, to sensationalize someone just because they have a different opinion. If somebody has a different opinion than me, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. I live by a different set of rules and set of standards. But the standard is true standard. And it's an objective moral standard that we all live by and we all understand. The reason we know murder is wrong is because the Bible says so. And that's where we get our objective moral standard. We don't just create it because of our culture. It comes from God. And that's what we have to realize as a people group. Everybody. That there's an objective moral standard that we all must live by. And God is the one that comes from.
Yep. I think that's good. So. Well.
Right. You want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about.
Yeah, we did talk a lot. I think. We can say for our next episode that we would like for you guys to ask us questions. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could revisit the questions.
If you have like a topic you want to hear, I don't know much about theology, so don't ask me, but like you want to have him, like, I don't know.
You know a good decent amount.
No, but not enough. But I don't know. If you have any questions,
let's just ask Addie a bunch of questions. Ask Addie as many questions as possible. You can ask me and see how many she can get through in one episode.
No.
Yes. All right. That's the challenge.
Don't do it.
All right.
Yeah,
that's it.
We're excited for, I guess, this.
We'll bring Jesse on
next couple of episodes. Hopefully you enjoyed. And even though it was a sad episode, I think it's a good I think there's going to be good.
Yeah, God's at work.
So
God's good hand is always at work.
Yeah. But thanks for listening.
All right.
Goodbye.